Daf Yomi, Tracting Zevachim, page 55.8. The Gemara says on top of 55a, Minolan. Finished the Mishnah, and now we're starting the Gemara. Minalan debai safon. The Gemara asks, from where do we derive that the communal peace offerings, meaning the two sheep brought on Shavuot, require slaughter in the north of the temple courtyard? Minalan debai safon. Betani Rabba barav Hanan. Kamen Rabbe. Yasim soyri zimei chalachatos, ma lachatos besofoin, afsham yisir besofoin. The Gemara answers as Rabba bar of Hanan taught before Rabba. The passage in the Torah discussing the offerings of Shavuot states, and you shall offer one he-goat for a sin offering and 2 male sheep in their first year for a sacrifice of peace offerings. Leviticus 23:19. The peace offerings are juxtaposed with the sin offering. Just as the sin offering must be slaughtered in the north of the temple courtyard, so too communal peace offerings must be slaughtered in the north of the temple courtyard. Amar le Rave, Chichatas mehechan lamda me'oila, davar ramen behekesh, choyzim lam behekesh. Rava said to him, but from where is the requirement to slaughter a sin offering in the north temple courtyard derived? It is derived from its juxtaposition with a burnt offering, as the verse states, speak to Aaron and his sons, saying, this is the law of the sin offering. In the place where the burnt offering was slaughtered, shall the sin offering be slaughtered before the Lord. It is most holy. Leviticus 6:18. In the realm of consecrated matters, can a matter derived via a juxtaposition then teach its halacha via a juxtaposition? The Gemara on 49b demonstrates that it cannot. Ela min Tanya Rav Mari b'rei Rav Kahana ala laskeva zivchei shameichim ma oila kodshei kadoshim av zivchei shamet tzibur kodshei kadoshim ma oilo mitzafoin av zivchei shamet tzibur mitzafoin. Rav explains, rather, the source that communal peace offerings must be slaughtered in the north of the temple courtyard is derived from that which Rav Mari, son of Rav Kahana, teaches. The verse states also, in the day of your gladness, and your appointed seasons, and in your new moons, you shall blow with the trumpets over your burnt offerings and over your peace offerings, and they shall be to you for a memorial before your God. I am the Lord your God. Numbers 10:10. This verse directly juxtaposes burnt offerings with communal peace offerings, just as burnt offerings of the most sacred order. So 2 communal peace offerings are offerings of the most sacred order. Furthermore, just as the burnt offering must be slaughtered in the north of the temple courtyard, so too communal peace offerings must be slaughtered in the north of the temple courtyard. Ela hekesh kamanamai also. Hichatos machatos eino nechenes ela zeche kehuna. Av zeche shamei tzibur lezeche kehuna. The Gemara asks, rather, what halacha does the first juxtaposition between communal peace offerings and the he-goat sin offering come to teach? The Gemara answers, it teaches that the halachot of communal peace offerings are like the halachot of a sin offering. Just as a sin offering is eaten only by male priests, so too communal peace offerings are eaten only by male priests. Amalei Abaya Ihachi Gabe Nazir Dichsi V'Hikrives Korban Ola Hashem Keres Ben Shnato Tamim Echad Le'ola V'Chavsha Achad Bat Shnata Timima Lechatat V'Echad Tamim Leshlamim. Hachanami Nema By the way, the words tamima and tamim were brackets. Just to let you know. Hachanami dema dehegish takaz lechatas ma lechazas inu necheles elezich gehuna. Afay anozil nami enu neechal elezich gehuna. Abai said to Rav, if so, then with regard to a Nazarite's ram, concerning which is written in the verse, and he shall present his offering to the Lord, one he lamb in his first year without blemish for a burnt offering, and one ewe lamb in its first year without blemish for a sin offering, and one ram without blemish for peace offering. Number 614. So too shall we say that the Torah juxtaposed a Nazarite's ram with a sin offering of a Nazarite to teach that just as a sin offering is eaten only by male priests, so too a Nazarite's ram is eaten only by male priests, as the next Mishnah states. A Nazarite's ram may be eaten by every ritually pure Jew. Achi hashda. How can these be compared? Some given the Rava answers, how can these cases be compared? There, with regard to a Nazarite's ram, since it is written, and the priest shall take the foreleg of the ram when it is cooked. Number 619. By inference, one can deduce that the owner may eat all of the remaining portions of the animal. Zehoa b'shela mihalo it achil ela zichrei kehuna kashya. Kashya. I wonder what's the difference is between kashya and teku. Why does it say kashya sometimes and teku? It's effectively the same thing. The Gemara asks, if so, in any event, the cooked foreleg of the Nazarite's ram should be eaten by only the male priests. The Mishnah states that the cooked foreleg may be eaten by priests, their wives, and their slaves. The Gemara concedes this is difficult. Based on this juxtaposition with the sin offering of a Nazarite, the halacha should be that only the male priests may eat it, yet that is not the case. Bivoy Sema. ואלה למהל חזית הקש, אמר רבי, שאם גילח על אחד משלושתן יוצא. The Gemara offers another explanation, and if you wish, say that the foreleg of the Nazarite's ram is called sacred, but it is not called an offering of the most sacred order. Therefore, it cannot be juxtaposed with the sin offering of a Nazarite in this regard. The Gemara asks, but rather with regard to what halacha is a Nazarite's ram juxtaposed with the sin offering of a Nazarite. Rava says it is juxtaposed to teach that if the Nazarite shaved after the sacrifice of any one of the three offerings, he has fulfilled his obligation after the fact. This concludes the Gemara, and we move on to the new Mishnah. HaToida v'ayinozil kodoshim kalim shchitas fan v'chol v'chol ma'azah v'dam v'ton shnei matan shein arba v'nei chol v'chol yil l'chol adam chol ma'achal yom v'layla chatzos hamura be'er k'yotze bahen el Hashem v'chol me'echal l'koyanim shem v'lehem v'lavlehem. Mishnah. The thanks offering and the Nazarite's ram are offerings of lesser sanctity. Their slaughter is anywhere in the temple courtyard, and their blood requires two placements that are four. This was once explained to me, I think that, if I remember correctly, that the two placements on the corners, and it spreads out in the corners, so then it comes out to be two placements, and they become four because they split it out onto two sides. It's 2 and 2. 2 that are 4. And they are eaten throughout the city of Jerusalem by every person, meaning any richly pure Jew prepared in any manner of food preparation on the day of the offering of the sacrifice and during the night that follows until midnight. The status of the portion that is separated from them and given to the priests is similar to theirs, but the portion that is separated is eaten by the priests and by their wives and by their children and by their slaves. Okay? Talmud. The Talmud says, Tanu Abada, Nolen Hoaizer. The sages taught the Brisa. Et Chazeh Atnufa, et Shok Atruma, Tochlu B'makom Tahor. Amar Rabbi Nechemia, the sages taught in Braita, the verse states with regard to the priest, and the breast of waving and the thigh of heaving you shall eat in a pure place, you and your sons and your daughters with you, for they are given as your due, and your sons' due out of the peace offerings of the children of Israel. Leviticus 10:14. Rabbi Nehemiah said, Rabbi Nechemia said, but did they eat the first offerings mentioned in the previous two verses in a place of impurity? The previous verses make reference to the remainder of the meal offering, which also had to be eaten in a pure place. Rather, by inference, the word pure in this context is referring to a place that is to some degree ritually impure, but pure in some respects. It's relatively pure. It's not the highest level of purity, but it's more pure than other places. The priest must eat it in a place that is pure due to the impurity of a leper. That can't be. But it may be a place that is impure due to... It's a chiddush, I didn't know that. It may be a place that is impure due to the impurity of a man whose experience is a gonorrhea-like discharge. That seems pretty impure to me. It sounds like, I don't know, from what I remember, Zav was one of the highest levels of Tumah. After Tumei Meis, maybe it's just a little bit less, I guess. Apparently, from what they're saying here. Which place is this? This is the Israelites' camp in the wilderness. And once a temple was built in Jerusalem, the entire city of Jerusalem, a Zav could remain in these places, but not a leper. This is the source for the halacha and the Mishnah that these offerings may be eaten anywhere in Jerusalem. The Gemara asks, but why not say that the word pure is referring to a place which is pure from the impurity of a zav and impure due to the ritual impurity? Where did that come from? The Gemara asks, but why not say the word pure is referring to a place which is pure from the impurity of a zav and impure due to the ritual impurity imparted by a corpse? And what is this place? This is the Levites' camp in the wilderness, and once a temple was built in Jerusalem, the Temple Mount. Abaye says that the verse states with regard to the meal offering, and you shall eat in a sacred place, Leviticus 10:13. The word "it" is a restriction, teaching that one must eat it, meaning the meal offering in a sacred place, meaning in the camp of the divine presence, but one is not required to eat another offering, meaning the breast of waving and the thigh of heaving in a sacred place. This removes the portions from the camp of the divine presence to be eaten in Levites' camp. Then it is written, you shall eat it in a pure place, which removes the portions from the Levites' camp to be eaten in the Israelites' camp. Rava Amar, Oisa b'makom kadosh, v'lo acheres b'makom kadosh, Rabke legamore. Rava says a different explanation. It, meaning a meal offering, must be eaten in a sacred place, but one is not required to eat another offering, meaning the breast of waving and the thigh of heaving in a sacred place. The verse removes the portions completely from any pure place, and according to this stage of Rabbi's interpretation, these portions may be eaten anywhere. Then, the Merciful One wrote, you shall eat in a pure place, which brings it into the Israelites' camp, which is a pure place relative to everywhere outside it. The Gemara asks, but why not say that the verse brings it into the Levites' camp, which is also referred to as pure? The Gemara answers, we bring it into one camp adjacent to the area outside the encampment of the Jewish people, but we do not bring it into two camps. Okay. See what we're holding here? Two camps, right? Ihaki, we're right back with Ihaki. Ihachim. If so, הפוקינן מלאכה לממכינן תעתי לא ממכינן ועוד לא תוכל לאכול בשעריך, כתיב, אלא מחברתי כדבעי. The Gemara asks, Ihaki, if so, with regard to removing it, why not say that we remove it into one place, but we do not remove it from two places? Accordingly, the initial derivation should be to eat it in the Israelites' camp. And furthermore, it is written, you may not eat within your gates the tithe of your grain, or of your wine, or of your oil, or the firstborn of your herd, or of your flock, nor any of your vows which you vow, nor your gift offerings, nor the offering of your hand, Deuteronomy 12:17. This verse negates the possibility that an offering may be eaten in your gates, meaning outside of Jerusalem. Rather, it is clear that the source for the ruling of the Braita is in accordance with the explanation of Abaye. New Mishnah. Shlomim kodshim kalim shchitos mechol mokem bezor bidon tonish limatonish in arba v'nechol mechol yom lechol adam mechol machal b'shnei yamim v'layla echad hamura behem keyotze behem el shalom nechal lakohanim inishem l'neim u'ladehem. The Mishnah says peace offerings are offerings of lesser sanctity. There are slaughters anywhere in the temple courtyard, and their blood requires two placements that are four. And they are eaten throughout the city of Jerusalem by every person, meaning any ritually pure Jew, prepared in any manner of food preparation for 2 days and 1 night, meaning the day on which they are slaughtered, the following day, and the intervening night. The status of the portion that is separated from them and given to the priests is similar to theirs, but the portion that is separated is eaten by the priests and by their wives and by their children and by their slaves. The Gemara says, the sages taught in Brisa with regard to the cattle peace offerings. The verse states, and he shall lay his hand upon the head of his offering and slaughter it at the entrance of the tent of meeting. Leviticus 3:2. With regard to sheep peace offerings, the verse states, and he shall lay his hand upon the head of his offering and slaughter it before the tent of meeting. Leviticus 3, verse 8. With regard to goat peace offerings, the verse states, and he shall lay his hand upon the head of it and slaughter it before the tent of meeting. Leviticus 3:13. להכשיר את כל האורחס בקודשים קלים קל וחומר לצופוין ומה קודשי קודשים שלא הוכשו בכל האורחס הוכשו בצופוין קודשים קלים שלא הוכשו בכל האורחס אין עדין שהוכשו בצופוין. This repetition serves to render fit all directions of the temple courtyard for the slaughter of offerings of lesser sanctity. From here one can derive through a kal v'chomer inference to permit slaughter in the north of temple courtyard, just as the rites of slaughter offerings of the most sacred order, which are not rendered fit in all directions, are rendered fit in the north. With regard to the rites of slaughtering offerings of lesser sanctity, which are rendered fit in all directions, is it not logical that they are rendered fit in the north? Well, I would just say that if they're rendered fit in all directions, that includes the north. You don't even have to come to a kal v'chomer for that. My question would be, how do you know that it is rendered fit in all directions? That's just my question, my comment on that. But anyway, Rabbi Eliezer Omer, lo nema kasu v'lajach shel tzafon, שיאכל והלא דינו, מה קודשים קלים שהוכשו בכל הרויס, והוכשו בקיימן, אלא קודשי קדושים, קודשי קדושים שהוכשו בצפון, אין הדין שהוכשו בקיימן, אלא קדושים קלים, תום לא ברמוי. Rabbi Eliezer says the repetition of the verse is stated only to render fit slaughter the north, as one might have thought, and this could not be derived. One might have thought, could this not be derived as a kal v'chomer? So a logical inference. Just as with regard to offerings They call a logical inference here, isn't that the same as a kal v'chomer? It looks like they're saying it's the same, but they always call it an a fortiori. Just as with regard to offerings of lesser sanctity, whose slaughter is rendered fit in a direction, nevertheless, their place is not rendered fit for slaughter of offerings of the most sacred order. With regard to offerings of the most sacred order, whose slaughter is rendered fit only in the north, is it not logical that their place should not be rendered fit for a slaughter of offerings of lesser sanctity? Therefore, the verse states, tent of meeting, to teach that offerings of lesser sanctity may be slaughtered in the north. This concludes 55a.